Welcome, adventurers, barbarian, ranger, cavalier, thief, acrobat, unicorn. I am Dungeon Master, and this is the world of Dungeons and Dragons, or as some would have you believe, Dragons of Stormwick Isle. Except, of course, it's not. Hello and welcome. It is I, the OGGM, and not the Dungeon Master. I'm sorry. I know I tricked you there, but nope, not him. Just me. It's August 3rd. It's the day before my birthday. I'm walking home from the store. It's my birthday. You got to get me a present, and the present is, of course, I want you to subscribe to my vlog. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please. Anyways, this is part of an ongoing series addressing the unnecessary controversy involved in Dragons of Stormwick Isle and the appearance of the individuals who vaguely look like the characters from a 1980s cartoon. Now, before we move forward, let us just say this is a brilliant marketing ploy on the creators of the cartoon, because this is the most attention that cartoon has got in years. So if nothing else, it brings awareness to the cartoon, and then you can go watch it on YouTube for free, or where it's still streaming, I think in South America and probably Asia. So it's still out there, and you can get the box set still, DVD, for like nothing. So yeah, will it bring more people to D&D? Will it bring more people to that TV show? Probably. All right. So the controversy seems to involve the depiction of the individuals on the cover and on 1 piece to 9 pieces of art that are in the adventure. Now, the first thing is nobody seems to be clear on how many pictures there are. There is definitely a picture on the cover. There is definitely at least 1 picture inside, so we know there's 2, but I have been told there's 2 pictures. I have been told there's 5 pictures. I have been told there's 9 pictures. Nobody seems to know for sure, which I guess means nobody actually has it yet, who actually claims they have it, or they don't have the wherewithal to open it, or maybe it's part of the conspiracy and the pictures change every time you look at it. Kind of like one of those pictures where you stare at the wall for 6 hours and then you see a boat. Okay, maybe nothing like that, but you know what I mean. Morning. So, are the characters depicted in the art in Dragons of Stormwick Isle the characters from the 1980s cartoon? No. No, they are not. No, they cannot be. And why should they be? Why would they? Now, people keep arguing with me and like some deep secret that Wizards of the Coast has, and wait. And of course the response is no, because they don't have the rights. And people are like, well, they didn't have the rights, how come they're doing this? And it's like, dude, do I have to explain how copyright and representation of a character works? Because that's what we're getting into today. But really, second caveat, don't you think if the characters depicted on Dragons of Stormwick Isle were actually the characters from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, Hasbro would not be advertising the fuck out of it? Because of course they would. That would be a major marketing thing on theirs, to milk that nostalgia and say, look, here's the characters from the cartoon, here's the stats, here's how you can introduce them to your 5e game. Yes, but they didn't, because they're not. Now, how is it that Wizards of the cartoon could have those characters, but they're not the characters, but they did blah, blah, Disney, blah, blah, who, no, they're obvious, no, okay? So here's how it works. And we're gonna use Disney as the example because you might not know what I'm talking about. You definitely know who Mickey Mouse is. Disney owns the likenesses of the unique characters created for the Dungeons and Dragons show. That is Disney. That is their part. So Venger, Eric, Bobby's a whole separate subject. Uni, Dungeon Master, any unique character that was invented just for that is Disney. Now, Tiamat, the Shadow Dragon, other monsters, other things that appeared in the game and in the movie and in the TV show, that's Wizards of the Coast. All right, so that's why Hasbro, D&D, Wizards of the Coast has the rights to those images. The creator of the cartoon also still has the rights to some of the storylines, which is why it can still remain in syndication, and Wizards of the Coast / Disney receives very little of that money because the ownership is split through multiple individuals. Well, that doesn't make sense. How is it? No, Wizards of the Coast owns all of it. No. All right. So I'm going to use the example of Disney and Universal, Disney and Sony, and Disney and Fox. Why is it that there are certain things on the Disney Channel, but other things that are not on the Disney Channel? Like all the Universal Studios Marvel productions, including the original Hulk. Why aren't they on the Disney Channel yet? Because those were done by Universal, and Universal still owns the rights to those movies. Before Disney bought Marvel, the cinematic rights to the properties were scattered all over the world because Marvel was bankrupt and they had to sell the rights. So the rights to certain characters like the Hulk are owned by Disney. That is why, are owned by Universal, which is why Universal could have for a while Marvel themed shit. Now, same with Disney, Sony, Spider-Man, the X-Men. There was a huge deal regarding when and how Disney could use Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse, Deadpool, the other things that were done by Sony. Like Tom Holland, Spider-Man, is owned by Disney. Toby and Andrew's Spider-Man and Miles Morales' Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse are still owned by Sony. So that's how the crossover works. So that's why Disney can own part of the characters on the cartoon, but not all of them. And that's why the merchandising is very limited based upon who owns what. But what about the characters from Witchlight, like Stormhaven and Warduke? They appeared in the cartoon, and they're in Witchlight. So obviously Wizards of the Coast, no, Wizards of the Coast owns Warduke and Company, because Warduke and Company first appeared in a second edition module and a series of toys that were supported through TSR. So when Wizards of the Coast bought TSR, they got the rights to Warduke and Friends, which is why Warduke could appear in the cartoon. Because Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro owns Warduke, but Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro does not own Venger and those other guys, okay? But there's a series of figures coming out from WizKids that are the kids. It looks just like the kids in the show. No, it looks like the art from the book, from the two pictures we've seen, and it specifically says Icons of the Realm, Dragons of Stormwick Isle. Nowhere on the WizKids figures does it say these are the kids from the cartoon. But Disney's showing it on Twitch. No, they're not. Please link to me where the cartoons are on Twitch. Because I looked, because I'd love to watch them again. They're not on Twitch. They're on YouTube, but they're not on Twitch. But the characters appear in cards in the new Magic set. No, they don't. I checked the card list for the new Magic set. Nowhere do any of the characters from Dragons of Stormwick Isle appear on the Magic the Gathering Baldur's Gate card set. Why? Because Wizards of the Coast does not own the likeness to those characters. but they look exactly like the characters. No, they do not. Here we go. Okay, this is it. This is the conclusion. All right, and I'm going to use some big words, so if that bothers you, you should probably start listening. They are an homage to the characters. They look kind of like the characters in the same way knockoff Mickey Mouse clothing that you can get from a second story, thrift store looks a lot like official Disney licensed Mickey Mouse product, but they're not. Copyright says there has to be 3 points of difference to not violate the copyright. So let's take for example, the thief, the girl with the cloak of invisibility. Point of difference 1, her skirt is longer. Point of difference 2, she's presented as older. Point of difference 3, she's a cleric. Let's move on to Presto, because Presto looks a lot like Presto the Wizard. Point of difference 1, he's older. Point of difference 2, the glasses are different. Point of difference 3, the clothing is different. Now, these points of difference can be very subtle. It can just be how stitching is done, but it has to be enough points of difference to not violate that 3 points. So, Mickey Mouse. You go into Disneyland, you will see a sweatshirt with Mickey Mouse in it for like $80, okay? You leave Disneyland, you go to any of the thrift stores around Disneyland, you will see the same sweater for $20. And you will think, oh wow, this is great. Until you find out it is not an officially licensed Disney product. So point of difference number 1, that Mickey Mouse sweater at the gift shop outside of Disneyland has to say officially licensed by Walt Disney, or it is not an official Disneyland production. Point of difference number 1. Point of difference number 2, the art is slightly different. Now, if you look at actual Mickey Mouse and you look at somebody who's like busking dressed as Mickey Mouse, or the art that you will see on these sweaters, you will notice very small differences. Again, these differences do not have to be really obvious. They can be very obscure. They can be subtle changes in coloring. They can be subtle changes in how a shape looks. A triangle might be a diamond. They can be subtle differences in skin color, coloring of the clothing. The coloring in the official Disney might be a dark blue, but the coloring of the knockoff will be a light blue. Also, the quality is going to be different. The quality of the official $80 Disney Mickey Mouse sweater is going to be, a real nice sweater. The quality of the sweater you get at the gift shop for $20, it's not going to be the same quality. It's not going to be the same material. The colors are not going to look as bright. Mickey Mouse is going to look slightly different. Somewhere in the back of your brain is going to recognize that these are not exactly the same. There are subtle differences. Even super identical twins are not super identical. If you line up 2 identical twins and look at them long enough, you will notice subtle differences, even though they are super identical. It could be freckles, it could be the shape of an ear, it could be hair length. The differences are there. The differences between officially licensed Mickey Mouse and knockoff Mickey Mouse has to be 3. Could Walt Disney go after these guys for violating the copyright? Sure. But it's not worth their time and effort. The amount of money they would have to spend to make any money off a lawsuit is so negligible that it's not worth it to Disney to, go after a small independent guy for making a sweater with a character that looks vaguely like Mickey Mouse, especially since the Mickey Mouse copyright's about to expire. Separate subject. Okay? Just with like Hasbro could go after people who make knockoff Power Ranger stuff. And, DC could go after the hundreds of people who make knockoff Batman stuff, but it's not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. It's not worth the court case. It's not worth the money they would make for suing these guys. And they know that even if they did sue them, even if they did hit them with a cease and desist, within a week, the product would be out on the shelf again, just under a different name. So it's not worth it for Disney to go after these small guys who are carrying unlicensed Mickey Mouse stuff. It's not worth it for Disney to go after Wizards of the Coast for presenting characters who vaguely resemble the likeness of the characters from the cartoon. Sure, they could, but why? It's not going to be worth it. The amount of money Disney would make by going after Wizards of the Coast in Disney terms is utterly pointless. Also, it's free advertising. Disney secretly encourages people to make knockoff stuff because it's free advertising for Disney. It's free advertising for Mickey Mouse. And every time you mention the word Mickey Mouse or Disney or, the cartoon or Power Rangers, the earworm works into your subconscious and goes, Disneyland, 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 Mickey Mouse, Disneyland, Disneyland, Disneyland. So even though you're wearing the knockoff Mickey Mouse and Disney didn't make any money off it, Disney is betting long term that earworm is in your brain and that you will eventually spend money on something they will make a profit on. So long-term marketing, it's in their advantage to allow these likenesses. So, in closing, the characters as portrayed, Dragons of Stormwick Isle, are not the kids from the show. They cannot be the kids from the show because Wizards of the Coast does not own the likeness. And if they said empirically these are the kids from the show, they would get sued for violation of copyright and violation of syndicate rights. But they can make them look enough like them to trigger that unconscious part of your brain that's going, these are the kids, even though your conscious brain is also going, wait a minute, this isn't the kid, it looks kind of different. They're older, the clothing's different. But the other part of your brain is going, yeah, they look just like what I think the kids I remember by. So the picture with the characters that look exactly like the characters from the cartoon, if you look closely enough at each individual, you will begin to notice that there are differences. They are not the kids. Wizards of the Coast cannot say they're the kids. Are they doing things to make you encourage thinking they're the kids? Well, other than a few announcements from Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro themselves saying specifically they're not? No, sure, they could, but why? Why? Why would they? It's worth it to them financially to allow you to continue to mistakenly think they're the kids. They will not confirm they're the kids, but you're spending money. You bought the product, and maybe the reason you bought the product is because your subconscious brain thought they were the kids. Then you open the product and you go, oh fuck, these aren't the kids from the show. And Wizards of the Coast goes, oh, I'm sorry, did we mislead you? Well, we still got your $20 and you really can't take us to court because nowhere do we say these are the kids from the show. We don't even imply it. In fact, we ought and out tell you they're not the kids from the show. And we have presented this art with enough differences so they're not the kids from the show. You can't sue us. You did not buy this under false pretense. We didn't tell you the kids. Show us where it says it is the kids from the show, because we can show you empirically it is not. And these are the reasons why they're not. So, in closing, no, they are not the kids from the show. Why should they be? There's absolutely no reason for them to be the kids from the show, other than the 5% chance that somebody has enough nostalgia for the show that they will buy it because of the connection to the show. Other than that, the nostalgia legacy players like myself probably aren't going to get it because we already have all the D&D stuff we need. We don't need an introductory box. The only thing that might be worth it in there for us is the map. And really, I can just get a map of an island anywhere for nothing. So yeah, and the adventure, that adventure is going to be up on DM's Guild probably by next week for $3. So I can just wait a week and download the adventure. And within a year, Wizards of the Coast is going to disavow this box anyways, even though they're saying they're not going to, because the new box will be out in time for the anniversary in 2024. So that makes the Dragons of Stormwick Isle pointless. So yeah, there's no reason for them to be the kids because it doesn't make any money, because new players aren't going to know who the kids are. Legacy players like myself already have everything we need for D&D. We're not going to buy it. So other than that 5% nostalgia market, it's just there because they can. It's a tease. It's an Easter egg. It's free advertising for Wizards of the Coast product and for the cartoon and Wizards of the Coast share of the cartoon, which it is to their advantage for you to think it's the kids. But if you actually said they were the kids from the show, Wizards of the Coast would come out and say, no, they're not. We don't know the copyright. But Disney, Mickey Mouse, as I've already explained, as long as there's 3 points of differences, Disney can't sue them, nor would they want to, because at the end of the day, it earworms your way into your brain to think on some level that is what I thought it was, so I'm gonna buy it. And then Wizards of the Coast / Disney is going, we're in your brain. You're thinking about our product. You're thinking about the characters. You're thinking about Disneyland. You're gonna come to Disneyland. You're gonna buy more Disney stuff. We're gonna make more money. Yeah, there you go. 21 minutes trying to explain copyright and character representation. I hope I have done a good enough job. I'm sure there are certain idiots out there who are gonna farm this content and attempt to throw shade at me and insult me and keep milking this. And you know what? Fine, go ahead. It's free press for me. I encourage you to farm my content. Go ahead, make more videos. Please, please prove me wrong. Am I wrong? Prove it. Prove it to me 100% empirically that they are the kids from the 1980s show. Show me documented proof. Otherwise, I'm going to stick to what I know about copyrights. And no, they're not. Till next time, I'm the OGGM. If you appreciate this nonsense, let me know. If you don't appreciate it, let me know. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 1,000 subs because it's my birthday and there's a cat. See ya.